Good morning, guys. This is Amro, a tutor at the Match Guy. I will go with you today through biostats. Many students are asking about biostats, so we will make a series of videos covering the most high yield points in biostats. Starting today with the study designs. Let me share my screen. Okay, I will read the question, then I will give you 5 seconds to think of the answer, then I will give you my input. You have a group of researchers recently enrolled 100 patients who were recently diagnosed with lung cancer and 100 patients without the disease to investigate their lifetime history of tobacco use. What type of study is that? 5 seconds to think. So you have two groups. Group of diseased people, group of normal control, then you're asking them about their past history, about their exposure. What studies that is investigating the past? This one is case control study. Hmm. What about case control study? What USMLE wants you to know regarding case control study is number one, the design. Uh, For example, the first question, they will give you a design like I brought two groups of people, group of diseased against a group of healthy. What design is that? That is the first question USMLE will ask about, the design. The second question, guys, USMLE will ask about is the bias. Bias related to this design. The bias related to this design. For example, you're asking someone about their past history. Tell me about your exposure. So you are depending on their memory. The memory is biased, plus it is not accurate. If you come and ask me what was your breakfast today, I do not remember my breakfast. So the bias related here is recall bias. Recall bias. Clear? That is number two. Another question I saw in QBanks before, guys, how to fix recall bias related to case control study. Hmm by decreasing the dependence on memory. How? Use medical records instead of coming to me and asking me about my past exposure. No, I can give you access to my medical record and you see my history accurately. That is number three, the third question. Number four, guys. Number four, this study can help you generate idea but not proving idea. It can help light up an idea in your mind, but not proving you're correct, not proving it is correct. That is asked in a Q bank before. Generate idea, not prove idea. Okay. All right. Next point. What else? The next point, guys. Point number four or point number five. It is the best one for rare disease. How is that? If the disease is rare in my city, I want to study the disease, I can simply bring the diseased people. Let's say I brought 10, then I will bring controls for those diseased people, then I will ask about the past exposure. So this is the best design for rare diseases. Clear? The best design for rare diseases. Okay, so those are the five questions, the type scenarios USMLE will ask you about case control. Okay, next. A group of researchers identifies healthy smoker and 20 healthy smokers. This is the first group, and 20 non-smokers. This is the second group, and monitor them all in the future over 10 years period to assess the development of coronary artery disease. Hmm. What study design is that? 5 seconds to think. Group of people with risk factor, group of people without risk factor, and we are looking in the future who will develop the disease. Exactly, guys. Prospective cohort. This is the first thing you need to know here, guys. The design. The design. The USMLE will either give you separate question like that, or they give you drug ad or abstract. And in the methods section, they will describe how did they run the study, how did they run the study, okay? And they will ask you what is the design that is prospective cohort. You start with risk factor and you collect results in the future, okay? That is number two. The bias related to this design. The bias related to this design, guys, you're following people after years. Many people might lose follow-up. People change their number, their address. They are no longer interested in your study. Okay? They are no longer interested in your study. So loss of follow-up. That is the bias. That is the bias. The third question, USMLE will ask you that loss of follow-up, that loss of follow-up bias, how can it be fixed? The data scientists, guys, hmm, differed. There are two teams here. Two teams here for data scientists, guys. The first team said, hmm, the first team said, I will include all people in my analysis. Those who completed the study and those who did not complete the study. And they called their approach intention to treat analysis. I will include all in the all in my analysis. Why? Because this represents the society. Not all people in the society they take drugs. Okay, even me, guys, I have poor compliance to my medications. So that represents society. That gives generalizable results. The second team of scientists, guys, said no, no. I will include only who completed the study, and there they call this approach per protocol. And USMLE guys will come here and ask you. USMLE will ask you here like this. We ran a cohort study. After some time, 200 participants left the study and 300 completed. Scientists during analysis included the data of only those who completed the study. Only those who completed the study. What approach is that per protocol? Clear, guys? This is how USMLE ask about it. 4 questions till now. Okay. Question number 5. Hmm. Since here, guys, I started with the risk factor and I'm collecting the results, the outcome, the disease in the future, that gives me temporality relationship. Temporality. Temporality, guys, is when the risk factor precedes the disease, which gives a stronger evidence of association than the one case control gives. So if I come to you guys and I ask you which study design gives a stronger association, is it case control or cohort? Cohort gives. Why? Because it has temporality. The risk factors precedes the disease. The risk factor precedes the disease. Clear? Okay, temporality. All right, guys. The last point I want you to know here, this is cohort, guys. In the future, we're collecting the disease. We are collecting, to be more accurate, the new cases of the disease. So incidence. Incidence. It gives you good estimate about incidence. It gives you good estimate about incidence. Clear, guys? Okay, next. A group of researchers reviewed medical records of 400 participants from 2015 up to identify those with BMI over 30 and a control group BMI under 25. So two groups BMI higher than 30 and a group of BMI lower than 25. Then we tracked them to 2020. Clear, guys? You have two groups. You are comparing the high BMI with the normal BMI, starting via medical records, not live participants. Medical records starting from 2015 till 2020 to determine the diabetes risk. Now, what type of a study is this? 5 seconds to think. Retrospective cohort. Guys, in USMLE, whenever you read a question of a study design like this, I examine I imagine myself in the exam now. I start by reading the last line. What type of a study is this? Case control, retrospective, cross-sectional? Oh, a study design question. Then I will read the question. When you read the question, guys, once you see this word medical record or medical files, close your eye and pick retrospective cohort. Close your eye and pick retrospective cohort. Because this design simply, guys, simply, I go to the past, a point in the past, for example, 2014. I open the medical files, the medical records in the hospital. I start and then follow them back. Let's say till 2018. I started at 2014, ended at 2018. I wanted to study the rate of obesity, how obesity lead to coronary artery disease. I started with risk factor. I ended with the outcome, same as prospective cohort. But both my start point and end point were in the past. Clear, guys? That is retrospective cohort. You see medical files, medical records, close your eye and pick retrospective cohort. Clear? Next design, next question. A survey is conducted over 1,000 community members to simultaneously assess their current smoking status and whether they have been diagnosed with COPD. What type of a study is that? Hmm. Survey. Survey over 1,000 people, guys. Survey that can be done in 1 day, 2 days, 1 week. What is the best study design used in surveys? Cross-sectional study. Guys, again, when you read the last line and you read the choices and you see that this is a study design question, then you read the question and you find this word survey, close your eye and pick cross-sectional study. Why? Because this is the most common design used in surveys. Guys, in medical school, did you see that before? One of your colleagues send you a link. We are running a survey, a study, assessing the link between studying medicine and depression, studying medicine and smoking, studying medicine and obesity. Did you see that before? They send you a link. Inside the link, there are many questions that assess everything at the same time, both risk factors and outcome. Like they will ask you at which grade you are in medical school, how many hours you study to see how much, how many hours of study related to the outcome, how many hours you study, the scores you have in medical school, the scores you get, and how happy you are, or smoking, do you smoke or not, your BMI, etc., etc., etc. So this is the most common design used in surveys. It is called the snapshot. It is done rapidly, like 1 day, 1 week. I can send the link to my school today for and collect the results in just 2 days. Clear? Okay. It is cheap, rapid, but it is not accurate. Why? It is not accurate because it assesses everything at the same time, both exposure and the outcome. So it has multiple confounders. Clear? This design has multiple confounders. The only thing that is good with cross-sectional study, and it is asked, it is the best one that can assess prevalence. The best study design assessing prevalence. In my medical school, guys, if I want to assess the prevalence, the prevalence of depression in my medical school, simply I will send the link now. I will collect the results from students and I will see how the prevalence of depression. How many students have depression in my school? So this is the best design for prevalence. Clear? So question number one, they will ask you about the design as usual. The second one, it is the best one assessing prevalence. Okay, next. A researcher compares city level fast food outlet density with city level obesity across 50 different metropolitan areas. So guys, I'm assessing the rate of fast food consumption and obesity across countries, like the Middle East countries, the European countries. What a study design is that, guys? Hmm. Across countries, across cities, across populations, ecological study. So guys, whenever you see a study design question and you read the question stem and you see this word, we are collecting data across countries, cities, populations. Close your eyes and pick ecological study. Close your eyes and pick ecological study. That is the first question. Design. You need to master the design. Clear? That is number one. Number two, the bias. The bias related to it. The bias related to it, guys, is ecological fallacy. Is ecological fallacy. What is ecological fallacy, guys? Ecological fallacy, let's say my ecological study showed that Egypt, they love fast food. They consume much fast food and they have obesity. This is what my ecological study showed. Can you say that all people in Egypt, 100% of people in Egypt, they love fast food, they consume it, and they are obese? No, you cannot generalize your results over 100% of population. That is ecological fallacy. Clear, guys? That is ecological fallacy. That is the bias. So you will be asked a question about design. You will be asked a question about the bias, the fallacy. Okay, next. A researcher analyzes the rate of schizophrenia in twins and finds a 50% concordance in monozygotic twins and 50% in dizygotic twins. Okay, guys, you're studying schizophrenia rate occurrence between twins. What study design is that? Yeah. 5 seconds to answer. Exactly, guys. This is the easiest study design you might see, guys. This is twin study. Simply, you see them studying something between twins. Close your eyes and pick twin concordance study. Why do we study twins, guys? Because it gives me control over confounders. The twin brothers or sisters, they live in the same environment, they have the same socioeconomic status, the same age, the same environment, the same diet, etc., the same exposure. So, best control of confounders. Okay, guys. So till now we covered 6 study designs, but they were observational studies. Observational studies, guys, you are just observing. You are not intervening. You're just observing and collecting results and analyzing. Now we will go into interventional studies, clinical trials. You are controlling, you are intervening. A group is taking the placebo, a group is taking the new drug. Let's see. A clinical trial administers a novel pharmaceutical agent to 50 healthy volunteers to evaluate its safety profile, dose range, pharmacokinetic properties. What phase is this? Phases of clinical trials. Hmm. 5 seconds to answer. Exactly, guys. Phase 1 clinical trial. Guys, we have 5 phases of clinical trials. Starting with phase 0. Phase 0, I'm in the lab, guys. My idea worked in the lab, over the lab animals, the rats, the rabbits, the pigs. Who of you guys heard about this? Recently, 2 months ago, I heard that they invented new kidney machine, transplanted kidney. It is this size, guys, like this. Transplanted kidney machine that worked in pigs. Pigs with renal failure, it replaced the pigs. And this is promising solution for those on hemodialysis, renal failure with hemodialysis. This is promising solution. Okay, so the idea worked in pigs in the lab. That is phase 0, guys. Clear? Now we will try it in humans. Phase 1. Phase 1, guys, you will start by a small number of healthy volunteers. Why healthy? Why healthy? Because, guys, I do not know if the drug will be safe in humans or not. I want a healthy person with healthy liver, healthy immune system to tolerate the adverse effects of the drug if there. I do not want to kill people. So I start by healthy volunteers for safety. And this is high yield, guys. They will ask you, phase 1, healthy people to assess what? To assess safety. To assess safety. Clear? Then comes phase 2 clinical trial. Phase 2 clinical trial, a small number of diseased people. Small number of disease. It collects many things. It collects some safety, some efficacy, and administration, dosing range. dosing range also in diseased people. Okay, if it succeeded, we will go to phase 3. That is the main event in which you use large number of participants. In addition, you have two groups. It is controlled, blinded, large. This one is required for FDA approval. This is the most important one. Large number of participants, one group taking the placebo or the standard drug, one group is taking your new treatment. It is controlled, blinded, required for FDA approval. If succeeded, your drug will go to the market. Clear? Then comes the last phase, phase 4. The drug is in the market. Post-marketing survey. We are assessing the long-term or the rare adverse effects related to the drug. Like it is teratogenic, it is carcinogenic at the long term. So if there are adverse effects, we can withdraw it from the market. And the most common example in USMLE on a drug that is withdrawn at phase 4, reproductive chapter diethylstilbestrol. They found that this drug, guys, causes teratogenicity in the fetus. Okay, if a woman takes it, her fetus will have congenital anomalies in her uterus, uterine anomalies. In addition, the fetus in the future can develop clear cell carcinoma of the vagina and cervix. So it was taken out from the market. Very common diethylstilbestrol. Okay, guys, next question. A randomized controlled trials assigns 1,000 patients with the target disease to receive either a novel therapeutic agent or a placebo. Aha. Two groups, guys. One group will take the new drug and one group will take the placebo. We have 1,000 participants. Hmm. So what study design is that? Large number of disease, controlled, randomized. One group takes the drug, one group takes the standard drug or the placebo. Huh. Phase 3 clinical trial. This is the phase required for FDA approval. Clear, guys? So today, guys, we covered study designs, observational studies. There are 6 studies. I told you all aspects of questions that USMLE ask about. The design, how it asked, the bias, the notes related to each one, the importance, and interventional studies, clinical trials. There are 5 phases. The most common phases USMLE ask about is phase 1 for healthy volunteers, and phase 3, the large number of diseased people for FDA approval. Okay, guys, let's see if anyone having any question. All right, guys, we will stop here by today, and I will see you later, and we will let you know when covering another high yield topic in biostats. Bye, guys.